Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to UnCapt Gaming, the podcast of unprofessional opinions about games, where, as ever, I, Phil, am joined by Lloyd and Dale, and we are today going to be talking about gaming as an adult and open world fatigue, which is quite a big, broad, expansive topic. Ironically,
do we have to collect things on the way?
I thought we were just talking about Monster Hunter all stream. What?
Yeah, we have to collect things and do There will be lots of side missions in this episode.
Side missions, man.
The perfect thing for us. Lots of tangents.
However, before we get into that, obviously we go through the usual motions and talk about what we have been playing this week. So I will go to Dale first because Lloyd was struggling to remember that he had played things.
Oh.
So,
Apex, quite literally just Apex Legends.
Nice.
I've been in a bit of a mix of emotions on whether I want to play keyboard and mouse and controller, and it's bugging me quite a bit. Feel more comfortable on controller, but then the speed of mouse and keyboard when it comes to like swapping items and stuff kind of gets me. I know it's been a rough few days in my games. I've been playing like really bad. So
does one of them seem easier, or have you not reached a verdict yet?
Yeah, no, controller seems easier for me. I need aim assist. I'm not a very good aimer, so I do need aim assist. It's just obviously me growing up playing consoles rather than keyboard and mouse. It feels more natural to me, and I'm a very, I'd say, mid-aggressive player. I'm aggressive at the right times, and I like to push. But when I'm playing on keyboard and mouse, I just haven't got that confidence. And when I have on controller, I quite literally just push everything.
All the pros play with controllers. So
No, they don't.
Do they not?
Well, I'd say it's probably like a
like the
30-70 split.
70, most of them, then most of them.
70 keyboards, 30 controller, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, it's a hot topic in Apex. It's a huge hot topic.
Do they not play controller in tournaments? No. Okay.
You might be thinking of Halo.
Okay.
A lot of people use controller in Halo, whereas I'm not sure how many people use keyboard and mouse in Halo. But yeah, controller versus keyboard and mouse is quite a contentious argument in the Apex community. So slide on. They've been okay games. I'm 2 wins away from 100, and I'll be happy then, and I'll retire and just.
And that was Dale very deftly refusing to take a side on the wall between keyboard and.
Oh no,
controller.
I'm controller. Like I'm a controller guy. Like I am, but their argument of how aim assist is too strong is quite valid. So I can't argue too much, you know. But I'm a controller by heart and by thumbs, you know.
So just Apex. Have you made any progress?
Quite literally just Apex. I started Death Loop, played half hour of it and have not gone back. Probably gonna look at refunding it because I'm not interested. Nothing grabbed me. It was quite easy, and yeah, that's my little half-hour verdict on the game.
I haven't played it, but like that was my kind of impression of it as well, because it got compared to Returnal a lot, and yet there's like, having played Returnal, I can't see that comparison beyond the time loop. Because Returnal is very, very hard.
Returnal might be a game that I do look at in the future. But yeah, I'd have to buy a PlayStation 5 for that. And money's not free.
It's not? It's not
unfortunately not.
What about you, Lloyd? What's your games this week?
I haven't played much, not gonna lie. I haven't played much. I've kind of had one of those like brain fog weekends where it's just like my head's not working. So I've kind of been stuck in that. But I did yesterday make a return to streaming on YouTube, and I played some Planet Crafter, which is quite cool. So that's like a open world survival sort of thing. Got to like terraform this planet. It was cool. it was cool. It's just a prologue. It's not the full game, but yeah, it looked cool. There was like I kind of felt I was just doing the same thing, like running back and forth for a while. But yeah, and it takes a while to like unlock things and build your base and stuff. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to play more than 2 hours of that to give it a proper good review. But
those are
yeah,
rookie numbers.
Rocky numbers, yeah, literally. I read some of the reviews, and they said like this prologue has easily got like 20 hours worth of gameplay. So I'm a bit like I might just give it.
Not bad for a prologue.
No, so I might just give it another go.
Dude, how long is the actual game going to be if the prologue's 20 hours?
I don't think it ends, if I'm honest.
Is it a Minecraft?
It's a Minecraft. Literally, that was one of the comparisons I made. I was just like, we're going to build a storage room, we're going to build a mob spawner, we're going to do all sorts. And yeah, it looks cool. It looks kind of reminds, it's Minecraft / No Man's Sky. That's how the best way to describe it is.
Fair.
From what I've played so far. But I'm excited to see what else they've got installed on there. Whether it's any like ancient alien species and stuff hiding deep down.
Mm.
That's me for the 2 days of this week.
How about you? Yeah, well, I mean, I've been playing more of Returnal. I've not got very far. I've increased the number of times I've reached the first boss, and I basically, from what I understand, need to get a lot better at dodging than I am. Is the main thing, because it just kind of, as well as being a roguelite, it's got very much goes bullet helly in certain points where there's just so many things and they're all shooting at you, and you've just got to kind of jump different directions and hope for the best. And combined with obviously the platforming and all that sort of stuff, so there's loads of different things there, and it's not you can't really cheese it. You've got to be good. You've got to learn, get skilled at it, or fail.
My tip for that is to focus on your dodging, and your shooting will just come. That's how I had to learn with Binding of Isaac. Binding of Isaac is like the Pappy of these games, you know. But yeah, I think focus on your dodging, and then shooting will just come. You know, the damage will just come. Your dodging should be priority. Tips with Ale.
Is Deathloop Deathloop with Rogue? Oh my god, my speech. It's I've been like this. I've been like this all week. Is Deathloop a rogue? Would you say it's a roguelite or roguelike or anything like that?
I don't know.
No, you don't know.
I don't know. Unless the game tells me it's one of those, I don't know if it is, because those genres really confuse me as to what is.
Because from what I saw on your stream, I wouldn't have said it is, and I think that's probably the main big difference between the two. Because watching both of your lovely streams on both of the games, they're nothing alike. I don't get where that comparison's come from, but I just think people have kind of gone, you know,
I think
they've got time loops.
Again, having not played Deathloop, so I'm kind of going off what I've heard about it rather than anything else. But it's not a rogue light or like, because it doesn't when you die you reset, but you play this like the level layouts and everything is the same. So it's just a death action game, I guess. And the difference I learned between roguelike and roguelite is that with a roguelike, like based on the original game Rogue, when you die, you lose everything. You start from complete scratch, and the only thing that progresses is your ability to, like, your skill at the game. Whereas with a roguelite, they give you a little bit of like there's things you can carry on permanent. Like, for example, I've got a melee weapon now in Returnal, so I can like go and sword slash people, and even when I die I get to keep that and that sort of thing. That's too much of a concession to the player for a roguelike, so it's a roguelite. That's the difference. Roguelites are a bit more forgiving.
Lessons with UnCapt. We're all coming here for the lessons. We need to get better at jingles.
It's not our strong suit, is it?
No.
Yeah, I mean, on the opposite end of the spectrum, like from playing Returnal, the other thing I've been doing is continuing to build up I now have an extra room in my house in Animal Crossing, and
Oh,
I've got the museum's going to be built soon, and
Just
we've got a shop and all this sort of stuff. So
if you want it done quicker, just time travel. Just time travel.
oh, I just had my wife drop off loads of fossils and then just send them over.
just time travel. D will shout at me for telling you this, but just time travel. There's
Yeah.
no consequences. Really.
What I thought you meant was you like got rid of everything in a room in your house and just got an extra room for like gaming or something. I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty sweet.
Sick.
Oh no. In the real world, I still have the same number of rooms in my house.
Ooh.
We want more rooms.
We want more
Sadly, it doesn't work
rooms.
like that when you rent in real life.
Just an add-on extension.
just go like, I'm just going to make a new room. Just get a sledgehammer. Hold on, I'm just going to redecorate.
For £30 more a month, can I have an extra room on the top floor? Just flies it in with like a pelican, drops it in.
But I paid my loan this month.
What?
I paid my nooks this month. Could I have an extra room?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if like loans and finances worked like they do in Animal Crossing, I'd probably be a little bit more forgiving on capitalism, because it'd be like, okay, yeah, well, I'll just go around and like dig up ants, and you can give me miles for.
Yeah. But what I love is how like the basement appears. Like it just appears out of nowhere.
That basement, the loading into that basement, and like the basement looks so creepy. It's just like stairs into darkness. They could have at least made it like, light so you could see something. But just into darkness is terrifying. I don't like horrors, and everything scares me.
I was going to say, I think you're the first person I've heard describe anything relating to Animal Crossing as scary.
Creepy more than anything. I don't know, the way Blathers looks at you is a bit creepy as well.
Oh no, don't, because I had a lot of stuff. He like goes, "Can I tell you about this?" And I said no to him, and his little eyes just went like the expression is just like, "Oh, I wanted to info dump," and it's just like, "Oh, mate, go on then. I'll let you this next time."
Nah,
can't say no to vaguely anthropomorphic fictional entities.
They're all scary. They're terrifying. Like, oh my lord.
It's okay, Dale. They can't get you.
People call them
You're
cute,
safe
but
here.
like, I can't not see animatronics when they walk around with how big and stuff they are. And like, Five Nights at Freddy has ruined some things for me, and I can't look at things the same way. So
what you're saying is that if there ever gets made a Five Nights at Tom Nook's game, then we should make you play it in VR.
I'll quit gaming. It's over. I'm not playing. Done.
Just any game developers listening who want to make that game happen, we will sponsor you happily.
And make me quit gaming. Like, it'd be over. I will not do anything. I'll be gone. I'll settle into board games or something. I don't know.
That would be a very different podcast. There's probably lots to talk about, but we're not here for board games, obviously.
I want more board games. I'd like some board games.
What are we here for?
Video games.
Boo. I'm on the wrong podcast. Sorry, guys.
Hold on, wait a minute. This wasn't what I signed on for. So the kind of overarching topic for this week is gaming as an adult and how it's different. And we put the, like I said, open world fatigue, because I think that's quite a good what's the word? Yeah, that's quite a good kind of example of it, I suppose, because it's kind of ties into that whole thing about how you'd look at the games differently as an adult. So I mean that's obviously the first question. What's for you, from your experience, like what ways have you found yourself looking at games differently as an adult than you might have done as a teenager or as a kid?
Time, I think. I'd have to interject with being like multiplayers being the prime thing for me, rather than open worlds as much. But like as a kid in high school, I don't even know how old you are in high school. Like 14, 15, coming home and just play Black Ops from 4 o'clock in the afternoon till 1 in the morning, only stopping to go down to get food, come back up and just continue playing. That's why I was, in quotations, so good at the game. Now I can't dedicate that time, and I wish I could. I really wish I could. But I think it's mostly time now, and I've got adult stuff to do.
Yeah, I think it's
But,
like how can I spend that time and enjoy the most out of that time that I do get spare? So like you want good quality, and like whereas before as a kid you'd kind of play a game for like hours and end and then just go, I don't like this game. Whereas now it's like the first half hour and I'm just kind of like, I don't want to play on with this. So and then
I
on
think,
to the next.
yeah, I think it's why the argument of the game gets good after 4 hours is so like just rubbish.
Crap.
Like no, I'm sorry. I know games need to build up to things. Like I get it, I really do. But if your game's not grabbing me in the first half hour to an hour, I'm not going to continue playing because it's not worth my time. I don't care if it turns into like the game of the century. I don't like if you're not grabbing me, I'm not playing you.
It's
I think
the,
that was one.
yeah, it's the same arguments as like like a lot of Netflix series and stuff. Like people who rave about stuff, and then there's certain ones people rave about, but you have to get past the first season or whatever. It's that same thing. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I can find the time to like binge watch stuff or play, but I have to want to. Like, there's a level of energy required to like commit and invest to something. And if I mean, even games I like, sometimes there's days when you don't have the energy for that particular game or that type of game. You're just like, no, not today. I'm gonna do something far more mindless or something which is more lighthearted or whatever
Yeah.
it is. There's because there's different day. You know, is it a bones day or not?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very different than just being able to sit, as you say, and as a kid and be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna play crappy game number 3020. 20 hours later. That wasn't very good. I completed it, 100% it. Wasn't very good.
I think yeah, because I feel like that was City Skylines. I've wanted to play that game for so long. Like I've been like I obviously I've played it before, but I've just been like really craving it. But then I sit down and I look at it and I go, I could sink hours into this, couldn't I? And it's that those hours are just gonna and I was just like, yeah, no. And then it's like, could I? Yeah, and it's just like, am I just gonna get to a point and then just restart again and do that? And I can't bring myself to even like switch it on at the moment. But I still really want to play it, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird feeling.
No, I get it because like I've been wanting to play RimWorld for absolutely ages. I've been talking about it for
Yeah,
some
yeah.
time, and I started it. It was really fun, and I was like, I'm gonna have to spend so much time understanding this game. But then I counteract myself in the fact that like I play Apex so much, but then Apex is so action and so everything's happening at once, and it's so quick and so bite-sized the games that it makes it easier to consume. I think that might be one of the reasons why battle royales have been so popular too.
Yeah. Because like you can kind of get away with that casual play time
Mm,
in a multiplayer game. Whereas like I think as a management sim or something you've got to kind of invest a lot of time into to actually get the f- the
value
full
of
the
it.
full value out of
Yeah,
the game. Yeah. Like I think like a management sim, because like the first kind of bit of a management sim, the first like 3-4 hours of that is it's quite
fucking
dull, and you've
yeah,
probably done it about 100 times as well, which makes
yeah.
it's like you can't do all the fun and exciting things that you can do later on in the game because you haven't unlocked everything, you haven't researched those bits,
Hmm.
you haven't got the characters necessary or whatever. So yeah, I think there's a big difference between the two genres there, but
I think it depends what you want from them. Like if you
yeah,
want to be really good in a multiplayer game, I think you've got to put a lot more time in than
mm,
a management game. But then it's like that level of what you want, you know what I mean? So like if you just want the casual experience and just go in and just enjoy it with your friends after work, then you don't need that. But if you like, say for example, me with Apex, where I'm aiming to get like masters or something like that, the amount of hours that you've got to put in is
yeah,
scares me a little bit. But no, I get your point. I think it depends on what you want out of a game as
yeah,
well.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I think this is probably like, it seems to me at least that if you're not aiming to play a game for like professionally, whether it's speed running, whether it's trying to get ranked in a multiplayer FPS or challenge runs or whatever, you're not aiming. Your main aim isn't to get lots and lots of hours, is it? It's just to go in, have fun, and that be it.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of, that whole thing of like, is that a selling point if something's really big? If something is got, like the whole thing with Dying Light 2 recently, where it was all like, oh yeah, this game takes 500 hours to complete, which they later clarified and said that was for 100% and do absolutely everything. But obviously that got a lot of kickback at the time, because that's a lot of people will look at that and just that's not a selling point. That's almost the opposite of like, put people off.
But in those like 500 hours, like what are you gonna do? You're gonna complete the story, which apparently takes like 100 hours. So you've got 400 games worth of hours. My speaking 400 hours of gaming like left to do. Like what is in that? Is it
the way they clarified it was, I think it was either 20 hours to complete the main quest,
right,
and like some side quests, So imagine some side quests you need to progress. I think it was either 40 or 60 to finish all the side quests and the main story, and then 500 hours to explore everything, every single bit of dialogue, all the, I suppose, collectibles, all the missions, all the different outcomes.
okay.
Things. So everything, like,
so it's not just this isn't
everything.
just one playthrough. It's okay.
No.
Right, okay.
No.
I didn't see that part. I saw that there was like 100 hours or whatever for side missions and main quests, but I didn't see that it was they had multiple hours.
I think it was just literally they found a cool stat,
Mm.
wanted to thing that cool stat, and then everyone was just like,
but yeah, I
cut out them. That
I
was
think
me just getting angry in the background, because
a lot of like companies have used that as a
they
point.
have. I think
And
Ubisoft were one of the worst, right?
theirs was my map. My map's so big.
Oh.
Come here, look how big my map is.
Map's 8 times the size of New York. If New York was 3 times bigger than New York itself, it's like, I don't care. Like,
Bethesda tried it with Fallout 4 as well, and it was just like, and you played it, and it was fun, but like it just didn't have the same impact like Fallout 3 had. And you just like,
it just leaves less memorable like places. You know what I mean? Like take Skyrim, which is probably the most successful open world game.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. Like, it's a massive map, let's be fair. It'd take you like, what, I'd say a good 2 hours, I don't know if this is correct, to walk from one side to the other. But how many of those places do you actually know? How many of those places do you remember by heart and you have fond memories in? When you have these even massive maps compared to them, you're just like, well, I know the first 3 locations you go to, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you. Like, unless I'm doing like some sort of like clean up of like collectibles or whatever, just because I want like. So with Horizon and with Spider-Man, I did that kind of at the end to get the 100% because I was really close to it. And then with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it was just not getting done because there was so much left. And I think that's the sort of thing, is like, if you go from completing the game, which is not just the main story, but also the side quests, is 100 hours, and you need to spend 5 times that much time to do every random little thing across the whole. That's sort of different to spending 500 hours if your 500 hours is like, say, a game that when you first play it takes 10 or 20 hours to get through, but it takes 500 hours to play through it so many times and like become like where you can get an S rank on it, do it in under 3 hours, do it speed runs, or do it things on the harder difficulties, with all those things where you're like, there's something new, there's some sort of genuine value out of it. You're kind of progressing and learning and becoming better at it, and it feels like you're still overcoming some sort of challenge rather than just wandering around trying to pick up you're basically reduced to like someone. I kind of think of it as like the one of the old legends in vampires used to be like if you dropped seeds in front of them, they had to stop and count every single one of them before they moved on. And it's like
It would have loved Spider-Man then. Jeez,
that's not like that's great as a vampire repellent. It's not great as a fun for a game, is it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, count these seeds, collect these, you know, all these hidden little pieces of gold or whatever.
In one region. Yeah, just, it's a lot.
And I think that's probably the big question, because I mean, there's not enough hours in the day for most people. Is the thing, but there's also what are those 500 hours spent doing?
Yeah, but then I suppose there's the whole thing of players. I'd imagine there are players that love that because they get so much value out of one game. You know, I'd imagine there are people that are like absolutely adore when a game is massive because they spend, what, 70 quid now for a AAA game, or 60, 70 quid for a game, and that lasts them, well, ages. That'd be their game to play because they love that game. You know what I mean? So I suppose there is a counter to it, but I suppose I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's a bit boring for me. But
yeah, I think like Assassin's Creed, like, and I think like Assassin's Creed kind of does it well because they've obviously got like the new Game Plus and stuff, which is quite cool. Where you can kind of go back and you can explore the other options because they do ever so slightly include different choices now in side quests and stuff. So you can go back but you'll have all your same equipment and stuff, so you don't have to go through that challenge again. So I think New Game Pluses are really good.
Do they not in Assassin's Creed make it difficult with New Game Plus? Because that's normally what happens, right? New Game Plus makes the game a lot harder, but you run through it with all your stuff again.
I can't remember. I just know you can carry your stuff over.
In most games, I mean, I think in like Bloodborne and Dark Souls and whatever, you get that's New Game Plus is you're upgraded, but the enemies are upgraded as well. So I think whereas in most games, New Game Plus gives you an advantage. Like
they give you like one power up, and then the enemies in Soulsborne get like 8 because why not?
Yeah.
And then
but in non-Soulsborne games where like the aim is not to just like batter the player into oblivion,
yourself.
Because like when I did a New Game Plus on Horizon Zero Dawn, and I chose the same difficulty, which was probably a mistake. I probably should have upped it a bit, but it got because I was the level I was. Like when you first start and you fight these machines, like it takes you ages. You've got to learn like the right places to hit them with the bow to like strike off like the vulnerable parts and set traps and hide new stealth. I was just going in with me melee weapon and just beating them to death because I was that powerful. Just like, oomph, you're down, which was loads of fun. And it's like that thing of like old Resident Evil games where you've got the infinite rocket launcher and you just go around and blast everything to the means on that like 5th playthrough or whatever. But yeah, that it's more like that than right, we'll make you a little bit stronger, we'll make them 70 times stronger.
Yeah, I think Assassin's Creed you could level up. The enemies leveled up with you, didn't they? So if you went in with the new level, they would be at the same level as you or higher. That's how it worked. I remember that.
Oh, is that? I've not done New Game Plus on Assassin's Creed. But
so you could do it. There was an option in the game. You could either have them so they stay a certain level. So do you remember? I don't know if they did it in Valhalla. I can't remember. But like Odyssey and Origins, each area was leveled. And then you'd go in and enemies would be that level. Between the level stated, and then you could have the option to level those up with you if they were below your level. So nothing was ever not challenged.
Oh, the areas were leveled, but you'd also come across like certain like bosses or mini bosses roaming through who were just there was one in particular. I mean, I suppose minor spoilers if anyone's not played, but there's like if you play and you go to Asgard, meet the gods and stuff, there's this one guy you fight who's like this giant
thing, and
Christ almighty, that took me so many attempts because I was massively under-leveled for it. But yeah.
That's
so
when you got to find the cheese, though. You got to find the cheese when that happens.
yeah, I'd like to say that I just got over that by being skilled and knowing when to dodge and like, no, yeah, it's just sheer luck and persistence and spamming the special moves.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Just dodge all the way. Run. That's my biggest tip from those ones.
Just leg it.
Yeah, just as soon as they hit you back, run. Just hit as much as you can, and then as soon as they hit you back, run. It's not worth it.
There was one with a shield, like in Valhalla, and I just couldn't get past the shield at all. And I can't remember why. It was just so hard, and it was like one of the first ones you come across as well. I just gave up, ran away.
When a
Save the
basic
world.
Yeah, when a basic enemy is really, really tough at first.
Yeah.
And then you just like in muscle memory, just know sidestep here, stab there, turn around, you win. But like that first encounter,
beautiful.
And then you're like,
beautiful.
I'm level 200 now, so you can do what you want. I'm not even going to do any skills. I'm just going to go and bash you on the head.
It's like, I think one of the best for that though is Monster Hunter. Is like when you first fight a monster, you're like, oh wait, what is it? Like, remember the first time we fought the Anjanath on Worlds? And we failed it like twice. It was the only thing we had a little bit of a bump with, and then we went straight back in. But I just remember this moment where me and Lloyd were like looking for it, and then next thing you know is Lloyd starts screaming because you're running and just took him completely out. And then you go back on the game now, and you just literally you body him like it's nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Pop him in 30 seconds.
Yeah, like it's really fun. Like I like when something new absolutely bodies you and you're like, oh, and then you look back and you're like, what was I doing? Like, why was I charging into that?
I think that's the great thing about Monster Hunters, though, innit? It's like you don't know what you're in for. Like, you don't know whether it's a fire monster, you don't know whether it's a thunder monster, you don't know what to take with you don't know whether. Yeah, and that's that first encounter is like
first playthrough is just it's something special in it. Do you know? I still remember the first time I ever killed a Rathalos. Ever. Really? And it was down my nan's on the PSP, and I remember screaming because I was so excited, and my nan and I being like, I don't know what you've done. And I was like, I've just killed the king of wyverns.
Yeah, they were good times when I remember I was like on the Pookie for ages.
Pookie. Oh,
love the
Pookie. Of course, Phil's not played Monster Hunter, so
Sorry.
he's very lost with these monsters.
I understand that there's the big scaly things that you do them a stab.
Yeah.
Well, the Anjanath, just to picture it, imagine being charged by 2 times bigger T-Rex. It looks like a T-Rex with wings on its back. It doesn't fly, but it like pops these dorsal fins out and shoots fire from its mouth. I don't know, one of the two. But just imagine that charging you, and it's the first thing you see.
That sounds fun.
No, it wasn't at first.
There are version of Is it Mr. X? Or
yeah, it is. It's just me and Lloyd being taunted by an Anjanath in the corner. Oh, God.
Right, enough Monster Hunter speak.
Yeah, so I saw the notification pop up that it finished downloading, so I was like, oh, I gotta get some Monster Hunter in.
Side quest 2 completed.
Well, I mean,
XP.
on the
Sorry.
side, we'll come to the side quests and stuff in a sec, but I think this kind of fits in because the 500 hours, obviously, as you say, the devs when they put it out were just probably like, this is a cool stat, we'll do it. I think they compared it to like, it was like walking from Warsaw to Spain or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
But there is a general kind of perception a lot of people have, or say, it seems to be touted around certain corners of like the gaming world, and probably with younger people. I think that this is the question of like, as an adult, do games have to be bigger to be better? Is that like, because that seems to be the perception, doesn't it? A lot of, like that certain people advocate is like, oh, this game's bigger than the last game, so it's better than the last game. Bigger maps, and
I think it was a perception that was very common. Like, 4, maybe 5 years ago, it was kind of the big kind of. It was like Ubisoft. You watch any of the Ubisoft like trailers from like what would you say like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that, and everything they stated was just bigger, better, badder, and just like I don't care. Just want a cool concept
I think
and a cool game.
the weird thing about that was that it was at a time when the Xbox One was coming out, because this is when I remember it all coming out, and the lack of loading screens and having these huge maps, like they were the two big things, and I think they kind of went hand in hand. It was like we've done all this, look at everything we've done here, and it's got no loading screens, and it was like it was like it was kind of this weird thing of the games could do more. So they were doing it, and then basically going, "Oh, this hardware's allowing us to do it, but we're making the better game because this hardware's like." Do you get what I mean? It was just this really weird, like, thing.
But then it was just like, look at how bigger we've made it, and it's like, well, is there anything for me to do in this big world?
Yeah, and then I think when that kind of like lack of loading screens kind of died out, the hype over that, everyone was like, "My map's 8 times bigger than this one." And I remember, I think Skyrim did it. Was it Skyrim?
Skyrim did? I don't. I really can't remember.
I think
that
so.
Would have been like 11 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's Skyrim.
I mean, I have a memory of getting like an actual physical map of Skyrim at some point.
Yeah. I got in the corner. It's so
cool. And even if they didn't compare it to other games, they definitely compared it to like previous Elder Scrolls entries, like Oblivion and stuff, and saying it's bigger.
Yeah, bigger, better, badder.
That sort of thing. I mean,
I think. Sorry, go on. I was going to interject and answer the question.
No. I mean, yeah, but I was going to say that that's not even unique to open world games either at this point, is it? Because even if like everything, it's just like there seems to be almost like if a game takes like only a couple of hours to complete, it's almost like, well, this is quite a small. We'll just whisper it, and it's just like quite a little game, but it's like no. It'll be at least 10 hours, 20 hours. I was like,
yeah, I think it feels like it's coming back a little. And I don't know if it is the Dying Light 2 thing. I think I think they just misjudged the information they were putting out. But like, I don't know, it just I don't think time necessarily equates a good game. Like my biggest example of it is Edith Finch. Is only like an hour, maybe 2 hour, maybe even 3 hour at max game, but it's probably one of my favorite games I have ever played.
Yeah.
It's not the top, but it is one of the best games. I love it, and I've played through it a good 6-7 times, and I went into a bit of a deep dive on the a bit of a deep dive, but like I don't think bigger equals better. That's no, I really don't.
I'm gonna say it's a flat out no for me. Like it's like you mentioned, like Edith Finch. Like the thing is we're in a world now where it's not just 70 quid for a game. You can pick up games for 20 quid that are like 4 or 5 quid. Like, and I think everyone has this. I think it comes more from a casual sort of thing for game, like from a casual scene. So like when they sort of say 70 quid for a game. Right, I get like you want a bigger experience from that, you want a better experience, but that doesn't necessarily I can't speak. I'm breaking. Necessarily like equate to time in a game or like map size. Like if that 70 quid could mean like a smaller game in terms of map or like time. It could mean a 10-hour game, but it could mean that, you know, it's a better script, there's a better music score. You know, there's all these different things that can make a game better.
Well, if you're talking like a AAA game budget, they're not paying like I don't know how many millions of dollars or whatever their budgets are, but they're not paying millions of dollars for the map size, are they? They're paying that for like the graphical rendering, the motion capture, voice acting, script writing, and all the sort of technological innovations and all these sorts of things that. Like the lower end of indie games, which could be just as fun to play, won't necessarily have because they might be like made to look like an old 2D platformer type thing, like got a certain graphical style. So I think people kind of forget. And it's understandable why, because if you pay £70 for something and it gives you 2 hours of it, like if you paid £70 for a 2-hour movie, that would be like genuinely like, why have I done this? What thing? But it's like the money is to recoup the costs of the budget, which is obviously doesn't go on the size of the map. It goes on all these different technical and things which cost money. So that's where that actually goes towards, I suppose.
But does the size of the map mean that you have to pay more for everything else? Do you know what I mean? As well.
I suppose so, because you'd have to fill that map. You know.
Yeah, it depends what you fill it with. I guess, like if it's all just filled with, you know,
I think
copy and paste side missions.
Yeah. Indirectly, the money kind of goes into the side, but not like it's not like I'm going to pay £100 for this massive map, and then I'm going to pay.
The more detail, the better.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. Oh God, sorry. More, the more detail and focus they put on making something memorable is better.
Yeah. And the word better is subjective as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it depends what you're looking for. Like you said, like with multiplayer games, you're going to be looking for that game that can, you know, keep you on your toes. There's constantly changing to like keep you engaged, and you know, with all the updates and stuff. Whereas you could play like, I don't know, like an Edith Finch, which could keep you engaged for 2 hours, but that experience has like captured you, and it's lasted you forever. And you know,
here's a question then, because you brought up like FPSs and shooters and stuff like that, keeping you, well, FPSs are shooters. Anyway, keeping you like engaged because they constantly change. Like Apex do like all their story things, which blow up parts of the maps, and then there's new places to fight in, and then there's a new map that comes out because the story's gone there and stuff like that. Do you think that would work in a like open world game, that kind of thing? Like an evolving map in an open world game.
Is that not just DLC?
Because you do.
And I'll see you all later. It's been a great podcast. Lloyd's completely shut me down.
No, but in all seriousness, though, you do have a lot of that with Valhalla. They add like events like Yule when Christmas rolled around, and they only had like everything became snow covered, and then they open up different parts, like when they brought in the go to Dublin for the Ireland DLC, or go to Paris for the other one, and all this sort of stuff. But I suppose it's not done as much in terms of like actually changing the landscape of the existing maps. Is that the sort of stuff that I don't know Apex, but is that the sort of stuff?
The landscape changes. Like I couldn't even give you one off the top of my head. Like the new map. I don't even know if that's because I've come back to it at a weird point. So I don't know what's. So, for example, in Olympus, which was season 7, maybe 6, season 7 map, I think into season 8 there was like a big event where Pathfinder, the robot character, had a boxing match, and he wanted a boxing arena, so they put a boxing arena in the map, and it just becomes a focal point. Everyone wants to land there because they want to see what's going on. And then that stays there, and then you just have all these memories, and it still is a good place to land. It's still a good place to fight for. And then, I don't know, a big explosion will happen in one part of the map, and then buildings will be all different places, and there's different ways to fight there. And then, like, these things happening means you want to land there, meaning more people are going to go there, meaning more fights are going to happen, and more memories are made in these locations, which will eventually probably just change over time. Fortnite do it impeccably. Fortnite's map changing is phenomenal. Like the way that they do things is just incredible. I'll never not speak like
it's like the this is a while ago now, but they did like a black hole thing.
Yeah,
they put like a shard in the sky, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, what's going to happen from this?" And it just caused all this fun. And then people were going back to the game, and it is just a way of keeping people engaged. We're basically the same game, but it's like there's another bit of content engaging those players to come back and play, and keeping them, rather than just going, we're just playing the same 7 maps now that haven't changed, and which is kind of why like Call of Duty have to release a new game like every other year or something.
Yeah.
I think
it's stale.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of those things as well where, I mean, talking about bigger maps and all this sort of stuff, it probably, well, no, it's not even probably, it does, it works better in an MMO. So you, like, if, Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, then that's going to be a single player experience with an open world, and it's going to have all these problems that we talked about of, you've got, I don't know, 100 hours of, I'm going to use the Dying Light 2 thing for lack of any other figures, but say you got 100 hours of missions and side quests, and then you got another 400 hours of wandering around picking up random things to get all the trophies. And that can't really, because it's a single player now, whereas like with an MMO, because the story is told kind of beyond the single player, that allows for more changes. So I think,
I guess
that's probably the limitation of any kind of single player open world stuff, is that unless you rein that in, and then there's a balance between everywhere being too empty and everywhere being too full and too packed with just identikit copy paste stuff.
Yeah, I guess maybe if those big maps evolved as you were playing them, because you don't really see that too much. They say your whole choices have consequences, which they don't, let's be fair. But it'd be cool to see a bit more like, oh, I've gone here, I've done this part of the story, and it's completely wiped out this part of the map because everything's just exploded and gone. I don't know. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But
one like franchise that is a perfect example of this is probably the Fallout ones. You look at like Fallout 4, and it was just this like, and they were big enough to be this big massive map, and it felt so empty because like the choices didn't have that last, because there was just so little outside of the few big cities. Like the choices that you made had just so little impact to the map and like how you played after the main story. Whereas like even if you went like, and then if you went back to like Fallout 3, like they released the Broken Steel DLC, and you could see the impact of the thing. So if you play that, if you played Fallout 3, you get two choices at the end, which is basically release a mutagen into the sea, into the water supply, or destroy it. And if you go into the Broken DLC, there is going to be spoilers here, sorry, for Broken Steel if you haven't played it. But yeah, it's like you see all the mutated creatures die, like where they're drinking the water supply. Like that, it's that like that really makes an impact on the game, because you're finding less creatures to fight and kill and stuff. And
yeah.
But then if you go back even further to the original Fallout, it was the gameplay was very much based on your personality choices at the beginning of the game. So if you were like a very aggressive person, you would unlock new like dialogues and stuff, and you'd get a very different experience from saying if you were like a scientist or like, do you know what I mean? So there's lots of different.
I want a jingle for time traveling with Lloyd.
I tease everyone. But no, it's like it's those like there's different ways of like making lastful impact, like replayability in a way. And
yeah, I think what we're getting at is there are better ways to impact people playing your game than saying your map's big.
And there's it takes lots of time.
Yeah, you can do more with your map to bring people in and enjoy it than, wow, if you walk from one side to the other, it'd take you the same time as walking from Antarctica to what's far from Antarctica? To
The Arctic.
The Arctic. Yeah, I was trying to think of what the other side was called. I was like, oh, there's a lot better ways to keep people engaged and keep people wanting to play your game than just my map's massive. Like, no one cares.
Yeah.
No one cares. Sorry.
Well, I mean, that's probably like, because how long does a match in Apex last, roughly? A single match? You talking
for me,
like
3 minutes. For a regular person, I guess like 15 to 20 minutes. I don't actually know how long.
I'm going to say, because I've won a few games in Apex, I don't know if you know, but
yeah, it's about 20 to 30
I won
minutes.
Like 3.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just.
So there you go. There's like what, half an hour for a single match, say, and then but because of the variety of it, you get however many. Like, say you played, I don't know. Do you want to estimate how many hours you've put into it?
I could tell you on my Steam edition. I'm pretty sure it's about 400 hours. And then on Xbox, I'm pretty sure I got about 350 hours. And then on Xbox, I'm pretty sure I got a good 100, maybe 200 hours.
Yeah, so
Something
that's
along those
still
lines.
over 500 hours just from something which, ostensibly lasts 30 minutes. Likewise, I think at last count, I was like 200 hours in Resident Evil 2, and I've got it down to the point where I can play a single scenario in 2 hours. And I've been doing that for a while, but that's because playing it over and over again and getting the sort of thing to the point where you know where everything is in the map and doing all these different things to unlock stuff. It doesn't need to be like a long. I think that's probably the thing isn't it? Is I don't know whether this is a thing we look for when we get, or whether it's just a general realization. But it's how much time you put into it isn't based on how much time it takes to complete it. It's more how much does it keep pulling you back for that time? Does it give you that replay value?
I think replay value is massive, and I think open world games don't tend to have that. So maybe that's why they try to get the mass amount of time. Because I mean, the only open world game I think I've replayed is probably Skyrim. Maybe one or two others, but like that's the only one I can think off the top of my head.
But again, that goes back to my Fallout point, like earlier on, is the fact is now these open world games have moved away from the personality system. So you don't get that different experience every time you play. And they say choices, but like again, does it impact that gameplay enough for you to go back and revisit it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is the Middle Earth ones with the Nemesis system. Like, if you got something like that, then you've automatically got different rivals, different enemies because they're procedurally generated and all the different ones. But yeah, most things like that, you'd make different choices. You end up in the same place. Doesn't matter what dialogue choices you're taking. Like, the main consequence might be like you got one less ally in the final fight or whatever else.
Yeah.
But
no, I mean, it's just I don't know. There's like I think the point of there's just so many better ways to sell your game than it's massive. It's just it gets a bit boring,
And then if that size is filled with let's talk about crafting and side missions because they never seem to. I think they're probably my least favorite aspects of most most games these days. Like even in really really good games, like some of the side missions, like I loved Spider-Man, but oh my god, I hated myself for doing all those missions of chasing pigeons.
Oh, can I chime in? Like, Spider-Man was honestly a great game. I really enjoyed it, but holy, you don't need that many collectibles, and you don't need to go, hey, Spider-Man, you don't need to continue with the story now. Why don't you go collect our collectibles until we tell you you can play the story? That was so annoying.
Oh, it literally forces you.
It literally forces you. It's literally like, oh, you've got some time to kill. Why not go do things? And it's like, no, I want to play your story. I don't care about your open world other than swinging through it. I don't want to collect backpacks with pizza receipts in them. And like, that's not interesting to me. Sorry, that game really annoyed me for that. Really annoyed me, and it's why I don't want to play Miles Morales. Like I've been so excited to play Miles Morales, and now that I played Spider-Man, I just have no interest in.
I mean, I will say that was one of the things that it's still got that same thing, like where the action takes a break, but it there's far less collectibles. It does seem to have evened it out in my opinion, but yeah, there's that whole thing is just like it's just space, filling up space for the sake of filling up space, and then the amount of games where there's a side mission and someone you walk past someone in the street and they go like, stranger, this is really urgent, or they're like lying wounded or whatever it is, and you come back to them after like another 400 hours of gameplay and they're still there in the exact same position, haven't moved. It's like, This feels immersive. I'm definitely gonna help you now that you've been standing there for 400 hours on one leg, or whatever
The
it
Witcher
is.
3 deals with side quests really, really well. I think The Witcher 3 is probably one of the best games I played for side quests. Like, there's like missions you can do at the beginning where, like, I don't know, there's like, I don't know, you've got to help two brothers or something, and if you don't and you come back, one of them's dead, and you can't do that mission anymore. There's things like that in there, and it's just so well done. There was never a side quest in there where I was like, I just don't want to do this. It was like, oh, I'm quite interested to see where this is going.
Yeah.
But
Oblivion had a really interesting side quest, and it's just hurt my memory. So you run past this farm, and it's getting attacked by goblins, and you get interrupted on the road by the person running the farm. I don't know if you actually did this one, but if you complete that, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was Oblivion. It was one of them, but and basically you can watch the farm as you walk past it. The farm grows over time, so it like rebuilds and stuff. And like that was a really good way of being like, you're actually changing people's lives. Yeah. And like I felt that was a really good way. But like, The Witcher is a great example of really good side quests and stuff.
The Witcher does things incredible. I mean, it was our game of the decade, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I still.
We need to check that because I keep asking you, and you're like, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Sure it was. Yeah, I need to get into that again.
Yeah, The Witcher 3 was fantastic. Like, honestly, I played it at first, did about 10 hours, come out of it, and then I was like, right, I'm gonna play this, and by like 5 hours into playing that place, I was there was no getting me out of that.
It's one of those games that I like stop playing and then don't play for like a year, and I forget everything that's happened. Maybe I just need to keep like a journal, my Witcher journal, and just be like, return to it.
Last time I played, I did this.
Yeah, I'm just going to release a short video on YouTube every time, just being
like Alan Wake style, wouldn't it? Like, we found this, and then I did, and then this, and now I'm here. And it's like, oh, thanks, game.
Yeah,
amazing.
I'll write a Witcher book, basically. Do it free of charge.
But no, I like side quests and quests are like quite crucial to how good a game is and why a map is so big. And I think one of the ones that really irritated me recently was New World. And it's not just side quests, it was main quests as well. There was literally two types of quests, maybe three, I suppose, but two main types of quests in that game, which was go here, collect 8 of this item, come back, or go here, kill 8 of this thing, and come back. And that was it. That was quite literally it. Other than like the dungeons, which were bosses and stuff, and there was all the mechanics. But that was literally it. That was literally all you did in that game was that, and collect minerals or collect like not collectibles, but like resources and stuff. But yeah, that was irritating. Holy, there was nothing memorable about anything of that game. Nothing.
And yet, how many hours did you put into that one?
Oh, I put a good I don't know. It's my Steam library says 80 hours, but I'm pretty sure at least 30 of that was waiting in queues. So I'd say a good 50 hours. Brian, it was the social aspect of that drew me in. But quests are a very difficult thing to do if you don't copy and paste them. I don't know. Me looking into the thing is me looking at developers.
Amazon, come here. Yeah. Your first game, Amazon.
Your first game was copy and pasted. I couldn't even tell you anything about what happened.
Well, obviously, Jeff Bezos decided that someone like him needs the stimulus of being able to go into space and have a whole new adventure, but the plebs can just do the same mission over and over again, and you'll be fine. You'll buy it. You'll still give them money. It's all good.
MMOs, MMOs are very repetitive.
Again, good ways of doing it.
Yeah, there's good ways of doing it.
Interesting lore.
I think Monster Hunter does it really well, because Monster Hunter is a very repetitive game, because you go hunt the same thing constantly, but the hunts just turn on their head so quick. Like, I think from Worlds to Rise now, the game is I think in its most almost perfect point, because you'll be fighting something, you'll go out to hunt something, next thing you know, Beelzegeist comes flying in from the sky, blows everything up, and you're like, oh, this simple hunt that I was doing has gone completely south. Yeah. I need to back up and figure out what I'm
I
going to
think
do.
what one's starting to do well is because obviously you've got the Gav Hunter quests, I think, where they refresh every now and again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they do them and they bring in new monsters to kind of counteract each other and stuff, which is
Yeah.
quite cool. So it always keeps you on your toes because, like, okay, you know what each one, but like there's going to be one that's like weak to ice and the other that's weak to like fire. So you're never going to have, and it's just
So
you're
you
never
can
going to
use
have.
the fire and ice dual blades, and you hit both. Oh, is it fire and black? No, ice and black. Oh no! Wait, what is it? Oh, that's gonna bug me. Those blades, I love them, but yeah, sorry. So you matched up the two perfect ones for me to use those dual blades, and I can't remember the actual typing, so it might be wrong.
Okay, thunder and water because they'll never work. That's a recipe for disaster.
That is a huge recipe for disaster. What about you, Phil? What have you? Because you play a lot of like. Oh wait, no, you played a lot of open world games recently, haven't you? Really?
Yeah, I mean, and I think probably with mixed results because, like, when I play Pray for the Gods, it's open world, but I I think, as I said in the review of it, it really doesn't need to be, or the open world doesn't need to be quite as expensive. Apparently, there's a lot in it. From what the people said, you can explore it and stuff, but I really didn't find the exploration appealing at all. Like, I wanted to go and find the gods and climb them and battle them, and that was it. Like the rest of it kind of felt like it was getting in the way of that. So I think it probably, from my perspective at least, it could have benefited from being a more linear game.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other hand, like I sunk an awful lot of hours into Valhalla, which I think was great, and I think the fact that they've, even the latest expansion, which is due to come out, which is based in Asgard, is like almost a game in and of itself, which is fantastic. But they just need to like remove all the like the things that are related to finding random, like there's achievements for like finding all the gold in all the different areas, and there's so bloody much of it. It's like, no, just leave that well alone. Just depopulate your map of all this crap.
Yeah.
Stick to like the actual missions and stuff are generally quite good. Even they had like quite dynamic ones, like world events and stuff, and they'd pop in new ones. Like you just come across people and they'd be arguing over something, and some of them were quite funny as well. All of this sort of like extra world building in there was fantastic, but then all the like collectible stuff was just tedious. So I think that was probably the balance, is like lean more into the missions and less into the collectibles.
One of my pet hates that stop me like 100% in games is 100% in achievements or trophies is collectible based achievements. Just as soon as I see that in a game, I just instantly, I'm not doing that. That's just not happening. I'm not doing it. Like, it's one of the most boring things in video games, and I'm just not gonna bother. It's not good enough for me to put my time into. Like, and I say that across the thing from Lloyd's, who quite literally printed off maps for Assassin's Creed back in the day.
Three games today. That was a game that's called like 3 games, mate.
There's still a lot. Do you know how big those games are?
What, Assassin's Creed 1? Nah.
See,
It's 8 times smaller than Syndicate because they keep telling us. So.
I mean, I kind of probably fall in the middle with collectibles because there's some where, I mean, and I have done it, even ones where I've found tedious, I've done them for the 100%. But like, I think there's some where I'm just never going to do it because it's just like, what, all these little dots, like hundreds of dots across the map. Nah, I'm not going to touch that. But on the other hand, if it's something which feels kind of relevant to the story or a bit of fun and stuff like that, then that's something where I will kind of do it. Like in Last of Us, there's because Ellie's into comics. When you play, like going through, like Joel will find comics every now and again, which are part of this series that she collects. So you just collect that sort of stuff. So like a little bit of fun. Plus, it's not open world, so you don't have to go searching all over the place. You just have to make sure when you reach point X, go into this room and grab this thing. I think that doesn't feel quite as arduous as within this 25-mile area. There might be this tiny thing if you look really closely.
Yes, collectibles are. I think collectibles and there was something else that was on my mind, but collectibles are my pet peeves in games. I hate collectibles with a passion, and especially when they're tied to like in-game upgrades.
Oh,
Spider-Man. Oh my, they're so annoying. Just use XP. Just use XP. Just let me do the fighting and stuff that is fun in the game to do my upgrades. Not go find 83 backpacks and we'll give you a different type of web slinger. No, no, no. Just let me fight things and do what the game is good at. Then, yeah, sorry. It's a massive pet peeve of mine. I hate it so much.
I feel like we're dunking on Spider-Man, which I must like just say in its defense, it is a fantastic game.
Oh, it is a fantastic game. Sorry, it is
but
really
like in terms
game.
of like the thing that annoyed me about it, and again, this also feels like something that Miles Morales kind of corrected, but I wasn't so much annoyed by the collectibles. I was annoyed by some of the missions, like side missions, because there was I don't know if you did any of the ones. I don't even remember her name. The woman who's like trying to like put videos like on the internet to go viral, and she sets you all them challenges, and you have to like jump through all these weird hoops, and like you have to fight a certain number of bad guys in a certain amount of time, or do like certain things.
I can't remember that.
The
I could not remember that. Is that Miles or is that Spider-Man?
In Spider-Man.
I just got so mind numbed by how bad the side quests and stuff were that I just forgot about it all.
Yeah, no, the
right. Should have had a coffee.
I should have looked this up before, but yeah, there's some like that were just absolutely tedious. Because they just like always like these impossible challenges, and then to get the trophy or whatever, you have to get a certain rank and do it in a certain time. Because they're like all the time trials, and just like
Yeah, what's the Taskmaster? Taskmaster things. I actually thought they were good. Some of them.
yeah. Oh no, not the Taskmaster ones. I mean, they were difficult, but they were right. There was another set of them. Like I say, it was a female bad guy who I can't remember the name of. Completely escaped me, but had a really sort of annoying voice as well, like sort of sounded like a rip off Harley Quinn type thing, and just really loud and screechy.
I don't know.
But yeah, that
was it DLC?
I'm gonna Google something. This is bugging me.
Yeah, it might have got worse in the DLC. I think it probably did, to be honest. But yeah, that sort of stuff was just like, oh my Christ, I don't want to have to like play this over and over again to get an A rank to get the trophy, but I'm gonna have to because I've committed myself to doing this now.
Anything that requires me to put that much time into finding or doing things over and over, I'm just like, I just can't be bothered. Like, cool, I get an achievement for it. Woo! It doesn't interest me. Like,
Yeah, I mean, at this again, I think I've got the time and inclination to do this because of things like, working from home and spending so much time at home. I think if I was still commuting every day like I was 2 years ago, then I'd just this would just be the most exhausting prospect, and I'd just be like, no, I'm not going anywhere near that as a game. I'm not doing it. You can't make me. Just to kind of pull that back to the whole thing of like how we approach things differently as an adult.
Yeah, gamer scores just kind of off my like achievements and stuff. It's just off my radar now as well.
It's gone now. Yeah.
I'm not interested.
Do you think that's because you've gone over to PC now, where it's not really that much of an issue?
I think I stopped towards the end of my Xbox living. Yeah, I just kind of just couldn't be asked, and I never like I did as like when I was like a teenager. Like I'd always try and 1,000 games go because it used to bug me, especially when they started releasing like the ones and the twos
Oh no, let's not get into that. Was it FIFA that did that?
FIFA did it
Did
once.
a one achievement when you scored like a goal or something.
Do you know what, EA? You've done some shady things, but that's one of the
worst things you have
decisions
ever done.
I would look at myself in disgust that there wasn't a 0 or a 5 at the end of my game.
I know. Oh my lord.
So
PlayStation fans, you don't know how easy you've got it. That was just horrendous.
Yeah,
when you saw an achievement pop up and it was like 22 gamer score, it's just like, why? Why? Just stick to 10, 15, 20, 25.
Yeah,
do 50. I don't care.
we don't have, we just have the percent and the platinum trophy. So that's like you do a thing and you get a trophy, or you don't do a thing and you don't get it. That's it.
You don't know how easy you've got it.
It's the equivalent of a sibling or a parent changing the volume to like an odd number.
Yeah. Oh, when you like turn it up and it's like just something like 12 or 13. Just
I'm angry thinking about it.
Just, yeah. I'm going. I can't keep talking about this.
But yeah, I just don't care about gamer score. Like it was just kind of like, because everything did become collectibles as well, and it was always like, and then especially when like they started releasing like, if it was a single player game but had a multiplayer aspect, and they started like, and the multiplayer game part just wasn't that great. Like Assassin's Creed tried it, another one. I
think Assassin's Creed had a good idea, but just didn't
care about it. Yeah,
no.
And like,
I think Unity was one of the best online things. That was fun.
That was so good.
Really fun.
The co-op was amazing. They should have kept up with that.
If something's got multiplayer trophies though, and they're part of the main trophy set and they're not separate, then you can guarantee you're never going to get the platinum or 100% in it. It's just like, well, I have to do this. I have to do all these multiplayer things, which involve being really good against human players. Nah.
Not all that though, but it kind of puts the game on a timer as well.
Because there's so many games now with like PS3 games with platinum trophies that are unachievable because the multiplayer is dead.
Yeah.
Like, did you see there was a bunch of Halo 3 players that banded together to get a final achievement or something on Halo 3 before they closed the servers down the other day, and they spent hours on there. Yeah, Lloyd, the Halo 3 servers are shut down now, mate. They're gone. I saw a little bit of shock in your eyes then, and a little bit of heartbreak. It's done, bro.
Tear rolling down the cheek.
Let it go. Let it go. It's over.
It's just like Dom.
We don't bring Dom up. Don't bring Dom up. Next podcast, or podcast in the future, we're talking about gaming's most upsetting moments. Yeah, and Gears of War, don't speak to me ever. Wow. Why do that to me? Oh. I'm so mad this episode. All you've done is anger me.
Well, I'm going to make a quick note of that now. Gaming's most upsetting moments. We will definitely come back to that because I think you could just spend the whole episode in tears.
Well, I got one to upset Lloyd. Halo 4. I didn't think you'd be this tall. Yeah, cry. I'm gonna start crying now.
I'm not emotional.
Don't cry, guys. It's fine.
I hope someone doesn't tune into the podcast at this moment, me just screaming at Lloyd to cry. This is where context is important. He's made me upset, okay?
He's angry.
So yeah, that do we? It's difficult to come to like any kind of conclusion or lesson from all that because it kind of went all over the place. But
do games have to be bigger to be better? No, they do not.
They don't.
There we go.
They don't. Just fill your game with good side quests, no collectibles, and we'll all be happy. Just no collectibles. Just throw them away. Just throw them away. We don't need collectibles. We don't. They're done. Over. They're 2012. Get rid of them.
Is that your final thoughts on the matter?
Yeah, that's my final thoughts on the matter. I didn't realize collectibles would be the thing that would upset me so much today, but it has.
Yeah, but I think that's probably the takeaway is like it's harder and harder to invest time into games. The older, like the more, not even the older, the more responsibilities you have, the less time you have. It's harder. So if we're going to do that, we need to feel like it's worth it, and that doesn't mean that it's long. It just means that we get that time out. That might be replay value for a game that you can complete in 3 hours, but you play it for 500 or whatever. But I think that's more important than just giving us. It's we bought a game to be entertained. We're not like supermarket workers where when it's quiet to go right, go and wipe down the sides. You don't need to give us busy work. Developers, give us entertainment.
That's so true. I think games do need to be good from the offset though, and I think that might be an unpopular opinion because it's like, well, you would never experience this game if it would. But it's like now, I do need the game to grab me almost straight away. Otherwise, I'm just not going to play it. I'm not. It doesn't. It really doesn't matter if it is like the best game ever made. If it doesn't grab me, I just.
No, I think that's fair. But there's different ways things can grab you. It doesn't have to. It can grab you because it's instantly exciting and actiony, or it can grab you because it's got a good story.
Yeah.
There's plenty of ways to do that.
I don't think anything should not grab you within the first. Am I saying that right? Should not grab you in the first hour. It should grab you in the.
Everything should grab. Yeah,
it should
really threw me off as well.
Yeah,
something should do something.
There should be grabbing. Is the takeaway?
Basically, grab people.
Wait, what? No, don't do that.
Grab people.
Not out in public on the streets.
We do not stand for grabbing people. Let me bring it back to the meme.
Oh, cool.
We cannot contone.
So yeah,
I have to make time for that. The socials.
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground there, but I think before we go into the news next, just for anyone listening, particularly if you're watching on YouTube, then feel free to pop in the comments what you're thinking on these subjects, what games kind of grab you, and what your opinion on all this is. Let us know. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, then I don't know, write us a letter or something. I don't know how to
DM us. Social media.
Yeah.
Socials. Do it.
Yeah, let us know.
Leave us a comment. Write to us.
Are we going into the news?
We are going into the news.
Here comes the news. News. It's the news. Oh, it's the news. There's been some news. There's gaming news. And the news.
I just wanted to see how long you go on for. Yeah, I wanted to see how long you'd go on for if I didn't stop you there. That was quite interesting. So thank you for that wonderful jingle. Anyone wants to remix that with sound distortion and whatever, feel free.
Dubstep beat over the top of it.
So let's start with Xbox boss Phil Spencer. Not to be confused with murderous music mogul Phil Spencer, calling for a cross-platform ban program.
Yeah, that's good. Very good. I'm confused on who the other Phil Spencer is first. Like,
let's get that out of the way first.
Yeah, we both literally at the same time went, who?
There's a guy, Phil Spencer. If you look him up, he's got like absolutely wild hair, looks a complete mess. I don't know whether he got jailed for shooting someone or whether he went on trial for shooting someone at one point, but the two things he's famous for is basically being a complete maniac and also the wall of sound pop thing that from like the 60s onwards. Quite a big name in music production and stuff. That's
never. No, the only Phil Spencer I know is a lad and a half, isn't he? Good old Phil.
And to the Xbox Phil Spencer, that wasn't a slight on you. That was just immediately. I just thought I know two people with that name. that was all it was.
I think this is a good thing because cheating on. So what I'm assuming he's on about is like if you cheat on Xbox, you should be banned on everything because you're breaking TOSs on a game which goes over different platforms. So you're breaking that game's TOSs, so you should be banned from playing that game, which is I think fair. I think that it'd be a good thing.
Is it? specifically about the cheating, or is it about any
I think
sort of area where you can get
it's
banned?
I think it's any area.
I think it's any area.
Call of Duty already do it. If I'm correct.
Yeah, with Warzone they do it, don't they? They have a multi-ban.
I don't know if Halo do it. Well, I'm saying that they're just Xbox, but and PC. But
I'd imagine so.
Yeah. The I is he solely on about like just in-game cross-platform, or does he mean on a wider scale as well?
I think he just means on networks. So if someone gets banned on PlayStation, they should get banned on Xbox as well.
In that game.
I think that's what. I'm not sure if he's talking about game. He just says networks.
Yeah,
so I think it's calling us an industry to ban a person.
Yeah, so the full kind of quote is he said something I would love us to be able to do. This is a hard one as an industry. Is when somebody gets banned in one of our networks, is there a way for us to ban them across other networks? And he also said that he'd like a system which allows players, if they've got a banned user list on one platform, so like if you block people, then it blocks them. If you block people on one platform, block them on another, because that way, kind of, if you move and if you've been facing, I don't know, harassment or trolling or whatever, they're gone across whatever.
The only issue is the ease of making new accounts. That's the only thing accounts are access. Although I think it's a very good thing. It's a good system, because if I like, odds are if I don't like Lloyd on Xbox, I'm not going to like him on PlayStation. You know what I mean?
No.
If Lloyd's being horrible to me on one platform, he's not just going to be a saint on the other platform. I don't know why I'm using you as an example here, because you're a saint of a person, Lloyd.
I am.
But you were just there. I saw your face, and I had to use you as an example. But yeah,
it's just because if Dale has to choose one of us to ban, it'd be you, and I'd survive.
Oh yeah, just so everyone knows, he did ban me from his YouTube chat yesterday. So,
I did no, I didn't. Nightbot did.
You spammed all caps.
Nightbot doesn't speak for me.
But no, I think this is a good bit of news. I think, yeah, but then again, it depends on why they're being banned. If it's something silly, do they need to be banned from playing that game everywhere? It depends on the harshness of the ban, I think.
There'd probably have to be this, like, if there's a multi-platform ban, there'd equally have to be a multi-platform appeal process.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I think it's good news. I'm confused. I'm just kind of like, does he mean across different games as well? Like, that's if it's going. Would it be an email address that is banned rather than a?
I'd imagine it's probably target. Well, it may target the IP. I'm not sure how they do the bans now. I think they target IPs now, don't they? They don't target.
Yeah. I think IP is the only way you can successfully ban.
Yeah,
because you can make email addresses dime a dozen and accounts and whatever else. It's and people might have really similar usernames or gamer tags or whatever.
I think that's down to the game. But I think his thing is look, if PlayStation have a banned list of IPs, we should have that too, and we should be sending ours to theirs, so those people can't be causing these issues on those other platforms too. I think that's where he's going with that.
Because my thing is you're going to have to bring in a new punishment system for like different levels and stuff for severity. And it's definitely a good thing, because like dickheads don't deserve to be online, and the less the better. But my question is, say if someone's like that person on like Call of Duty, for example, is saying nasty things on Call of Duty, would they be banned from playing Halo? If that makes sense. With that, I
don't think
that's what's confusing me a bit, because
I think it refers to the game.
Okay,
I'd like to say,
because that's what I would say. Yeah,
you can be banned from using Xbox, right? You can be banned from using the Xbox thing. Yeah. So I suppose that would then be a wide.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So say if you're banned on Xbox from using Xbox Live, would you be banned from using the PSN network? PS Network. Do you know what I mean?
I think
Maybe
it would probably depend on. I mean, they'd have to develop the text a bit, or whatever
Yeah,
things needs for these things to
the
communicate
cross.
first, and then they'd work out the rest of that. But
Yeah, because I think a whole new like severity thing would have to come in.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, and I think it should be looked at. But then they'd have to, like you said, figure out how
work. Yeah, because it's quite difficult.
Because I know players that like have been banned for like being toxic in games, and they just make another account. Crack on. I know one of my mates that has like 7 different accounts for when his other accounts get banned, so he can just jump on and continue playing.
I remember my first Xbox account got banned. I can't remember. I didn't say anything too bad. I think I just got in an argument, and then and it was like over something stupid. Like, and he just banned me. I don't think I said anything bad.
Was it Call of Duty, Lloyd? Because you probably said some bad things.
Halo.
Oh, well, it's even worse.
I've never been
How many
banned
mums
on
did you sleep with?
I was naughty and made a new account.
See, that's maybe what he's getting at, is that it's so easy to get around these things, and maybe with it being cross-platform, they have to just look at IPs. They can't look at.
Oh yeah, it 100% have to be IPs.
Yeah. Interesting bit of news. It's the news.
It'd be nice to see the gaming industry connecting over something.
News. Yeah, definitely.
The other thing that, because apparently this was all an interview with the New York Times, so the other thing that Phil Spencer commented on was he didn't go into more specifics. He just, in relation to Xbox's relationship with Activision. So he said the work we do specifically with a partner like Activision is obviously something that I'm not going to talk about publicly, but we have changed how we do certain things with them, and they're aware of that. And then he went on to say, this isn't about us as Xbox virtue shaming other companies, because our history's not spotless. And he's mentioned like a game developers conference party years ago where Microsoft hired women to dance on platforms, and he said this was a painful moment in the history of Xbox. So
I mean, it's good to acknowledge and taking accountability. Good old Phil there.
Yeah,
good old Phil.
I do hope
2 Phils.
2 Phils. We got a Phil.
We got a Phil.
Sorry,
Phil.
We've got a wild Phil. I hope more companies kind of take accountability like that.
Yeah, that's the way that you move on and change the space,
Yeah, because I think that I can understand why they're cagey about it, because obviously they've still got to stocks and the performance and shareholders and all this nonsense to worry about, but at least they're not just completely ignoring it.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a hard few years, I think, Activision.
Very
hard few years.
But,
kind of good, but kind of not for the So it's a weird one. It's weird when it involves loads of people,
And it's all, the majority suffer for the actions of a few, unfortunately.
Ooh. Philosophical there, Lloyd.
Just been reading the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I'm out. It's nice to see a head of a company just go, look, we're not innocent here. So
yeah, and I think the kind of alongside that, we know that the workers who've been affected have been like taking strike action and stuff. So my thing with this is always kind of, if workers are complaining about something, be on their side and support them, and hope that the right thing happens in the end.
Yeah,
touch wood. Yeah, touch wood.
I touched wood.
Onto a very different thing.
We have 2 esports stories. I know they're coming. 2 esports stories. Let's go.
Well, first we have. Is it Cem or Cem or?
Do you know what? I was hoping that you'd pronounce his name first, so I didn't mess it up.
Apologies if this is wrong. So Cem Bulozki. So he's F1 esports, and then he says secured Formula 2 drive for 2022. So
He's
he's actually racing IRL.
Yeah. He's gone from
which is one hell of a jump.
That's really cool. Yeah. It's just I popped it in because I really think it's cool news, and it shows how like on par esports can actually be with real sports. I suppose this is a very
different thing from like football.
Different thing from football stuff, but it shows that there's transferable skills between the real world stuff and
Yeah. I think F1, because it is very much, you need to know when to turn.
Reaction times
and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of transferable skills, whereas I don't like football or like rugby. If you're playing those games digitally,
who plays rugby games?
No one, because there hasn't been one for a while. But I'm just naming.
I know, I'm joking.
I'm Welsh, mate. I have to say it.
God, no, I'm Welsh, and I bloody hate rugby. I do.
Yeah, I hate rugby.
But no, it's interesting because it's nice because it's going from the virtual to the real, and it brings a lot of legitimacy again to esports, which I don't think it needs, but I still always like have this but they still do amazing things. Do you know what I mean? So it's nice to see some news of someone going from that to the real thing.
Yeah, didn't a football manager actually saying talking about football? He was on Football Manager, the game, and he got hired by a club.
Oh,
yeah, a couple of years ago.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah, no, it's nice to see, especially like a game being simulated for the actual thing, merging and realizing that they can work together. I wonder if it means they'll look in to the esports scene more for potential drivers.
Yeah, possibly.
It's cool. It's not one that I have too much to say on, but it's something that I thought was interesting to talk about.
Oh, that's cool.
The next one, however,
cool. So you've got a lot to say over.
Kind of.
Riot Games is investigating top esports team founder over bullying allegations. So this is Andy Din or Reginald.
Reginald, yeah, that's what everyone knows him by. So it's TSM, or what are they called now? TSM FTX, FTX, or whatever they changed their name because they signed with a crypto thing a while back. But they're I'm pretty sure they're one of the biggest esports team. I'm pretty sure they are the biggest and highest earning esports team. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. But their founder and I'm guessing is CEO. Yeah, he's CEO.
Yeah.
Has been kind of outed for being quite toxic and quite bullying, and there's some quite damning videos of him being quite horrible. But I think it's interesting in that I've seen other people professionals tweet, like Clayster from I was going to say Clayster from esports, but Clayster from Call of Duty, the New York Sublime, has tweeted out that he remembers playing for one of the most famous esports. He didn't really out them, but he said that 60 seconds after a loss, he had a phone call that he had to pick up, and it was him being screamed at for 30 to 60 minutes from an investor. So I think this story is going to blow up the esports scene, because playing esports games, they are toxic, and there's no two ways around. The esports games are very toxic. There's a huge level of toxicity in esports, and I think that stuff carrying over to the professional side is something that we're going to see getting outed very big, very thing. But yeah, I've seen Clayster tweet about it. I think there might have been a couple of other tweets of other players saying they've had similar experiences. But the Clayster stuff is, he didn't specify it was with him, but I don't think he'd have any overlap. But yeah, I think we may see this a bit more with owners and even players on the out, and there's all this are they toxic or are they actually just amazingly thing, and someone can be amazingly gifted and amazing at the game, but they're still toxic and still horrible to work with. So it's not nice to read about.
No.
And it's horrible that it's happening,
But the good thing is this could have an impact in the general sort of space as well. because
Mhm.
obviously people kind of see players speaking. Like I don't know
Awful.
how bad it
Yeah.
is, but yeah, like I know of some people you've mentioned a couple of times of people
Yeah.
speaking quite bad to each other in games, like live and stuff, and it's been heard
I
and
think
things. And
I think the other thing is as well is there's a fine line between getting emotional and getting angry at someone and them being toxic, you know?
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think
definitely, yeah.
esports has the disadvantage/advantage of everything being broadcasted through a mic,
Mhm.
whereas you could probably have hundreds of thousands of hundreds of
Oh
thousands,
yeah,
I'll say
yeah,
something
yeah,
like
100%,
football players
yeah,
being exactly this way, but it'll never get called out because there's no hard evidence of it. Whereas in esports, everything is recorded. Everything's you go
mm.
live. You're going into games. I may go into a game against a professional on, say, Call of Duty as an example. I may be recording. He may be speaking to me like absolute ass, and it's there. It's for the world to see. You know what I mean? Um, but it's a very competitive industry, and people get very heated, very angry, and it's I don't know. I think we're going to see a lot of this toxic gamer mentality running the scene being outed, and it's going to be a very good thing. Very good thing. There's a lot of
Do you think that this is a another point is do you think like managing that anger is a good thing to teach younger players
yeah,
coming through?
yes, 100%. Teaching players how to manage rage. The typical "oh, I
Yeah,
smashed my keyboard." It's funny sometimes to see, but it needs to be addressed.
yeah,
You know.
Hmm.
But then
'Cause
there's the level of certain games, this trash talking is a selling point to the game and why you watch the esports. Like you watch Call of Duty because they're amazing players, but you also watch Call of Duty because of the trash talk and the drama and the storylines.
I
I think
think
that's
but
going off on a
there
bit
is
of a
there is a
tangent.
there is a
there's a
difference
big
though, isn't there,
difference. Yeah,
between like
Yeah, sorry, I was going off on a tangent,
drama
but
is kind of like because you expect like from if you're watching boxing or whatever, and like the players fighters like squaring up to one another and like trash talk and all that sort of stuff is one
yeah,
thing, but
it's
I
like
mean there's kind of an
this.
overlap with two areas with the game. Obviously, on the one side, because it's an industry and because it's like employees and workers who are being treated bad by it, it's got the same
Yeah,
overlap with the rest of the games industry and all that kind of boost
yep,
it. And then on the other side, like you've got this whole thing of it doesn't even have to be professionals, but if you got someone who, like, say, live got a family, they've got a wife or kids or whoever it is, and when they're in that gaming space, if they don't do very well or they feel like it sort of goes from just being a bit miffed at the game or being, oh my god, I'm giving up, and sort of to like actual genuine sort of rage and abuse and scary abuse in particular. Like that sort of thing doesn't just get directed at anonymous person on the other end
yeah,
of the thing. That gets
yeah.
directed at
It comes
people
out.
you live with and domestic abuse and stuff like that. So there's connection. It's not just like toxic. It's like essentially violent and dangerous. And
Yeah,
I think
definitely. I
that
think
absolutely does need to be rooted out.
Lloyd's point of teaching people to, like, you're gonna get angry, but teaching people
yeah,
to manage that is a very, very good thing. But like I think the whole thing with this Reginald story, obviously it's alleged. You can't say that it's thing, but there's videos and stuff that don't look too good. But there's a difference between, I suppose, another, like, someone you're playing against calling you trash than your CEO calling you trash because you've just lost a game.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
definitely
because there's a
people
power
relations, isn't it?
dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, or even your teammates. Like
but
there
yeah,
needs to be.
but this is the this is the other thing. It's kind of knowing who you're speaking to as well
Yeah,
in the game. Like, say if there's two people like that, I don't know, there's like brothers and they're on opposite teams. Do you know what I mean? And they obviously they can't speak to each other, but like something's said over the mic or something, and it's kind of you know what I mean. There's a big difference between that sort of relationship than
yeah.
like just saying it.
This. Yeah, I agree. I think this story is going to be important because I can see, as much as I love the esports world, I love it all, but I can see this being quite rife, this toxic mentality and this, like, I don't know, just belittling players if they've lost for you. I can see this being quite, and obviously within a few hours of it happening, you already have top esports players being like, "Oh yeah, I've experienced this. Yeah, this isn't this isn't a normal." I think is the word I was going for there. I think it's kind of thing, and it's good that Riot have kind of stepped and they're investigating it because obviously TSM are huge in League of Legends and Valorant. I'm pretty sure they're big in Valorant. Yeah, they are big in Valorant. So it's cool to see a game dev caring about it and going out for them. I know Riot's not in the good of books right now, but this is a good thing that they're doing. Very good thing that they're doing.
Yeah, because even if it's damage control or whatever, it still has a positive impact in terms of that. And like, there's so many different ways. I think that'll have an impact. As you say, it's gonna be, I think, just better if we try and like some sort of genuine culture change around that stuff at every level.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, no, that's my important story of the week. I imagine it's just going to evolve over the week now. So I mean, when did this? Yesterday maybe. I think. When we're recording,
Yeah, yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
So this is going to be something ongoing, I think.
So I mean, from that to I suppose a couple of lighter stories. So TakeTwo, who are ultimately like they own the guys who make Grand Theft. They own Rockstar, don't they? To like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption. But they're buying Zynga, who make Farmville and Word with Friends for $12 billion.
Yep.
Just huge amounts of money for
scary amount of money.
I mean,
but I think
Farmville takes me back to like 2008 or something like that. I think like early days of Facebook time.
I think they're probably going to be looking into the mobile market. The mobile market is huge, and I don't think gets enough credit because of a lot of like the predatory tactics that are used in there and the whole whaling system and all that stuff. But there are some fantastic games.
It's even the short space of time we've seen phones grow.
Yeah. Like, I mean, there's esports played on mobiles now. There's Call of Duty esports. There's
Xbox streaming as well.
Yeah, the Xbox stream. Have you used that? That stuff. That's awesome. It's so good. Like you sit there and play Forza on your phone like it's nothing. It's incredible.
Yeah, I've got
Internet
a Galaxy
provided.
Now, so touch wood, I can
start doing it.
Start giving it a go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I think TakeTwo will just start looking into the mobile industry a bit more. I'm pretty sure they've got some of their games over there. And I think I read somewhere in the article that they're on about bringing some of their like console games over, so see some ports, you know, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, mobile gaming is not an area I know. I generally don't play mobile games at all. But I know it's in terms of money making, it's absolutely.
Yeah.
I would like to say I'd like to see like the old school like top down GTAs or something.
Oh,
but then,
that'd be cool.
That would be cool. But like I think mobiles are at the point now where we could see probably like a first person GTA.
Yeah, easy.
So
100%, I agree with you.
So it'd be interesting to see what they do with this. And for that amount of money, they must have some. Well, it's going to cost a lot of money to buy them anyway because they're making bank. But
then again, they probably make that in a month off GTA 5, don't they? Let's be fair. I'm exaggerating a touch there, obviously.
You mentioned predatory tactics.
I don't think is GTA that predatory. It's
the
shark
credit,
cards,
the shark cards, the credit card thing they do, and
well, I mean, they are like in terms of predatory tactics. Didn't they try and sue the makers of It Takes Two because the name is similar and stuff?
Did they?
I'm sure I read something about that at some point in the past.
Oh.
Like they got some sort of like Take-Two approach, like some sort of like whether it was finger wagging or whether it was a full on legal threat.
I would assume that's more of a
illegal. I don't know if that's predatory. That's just.
I mean, it's half of the court because there was but because it was the same as why Pray for the Gods was spelled Praey, because Bethesda threatened to sue them over their entirely different game called Prey. Yeah, here we are from December. It Takes Two, hit by a trademark claim from Grand Theft Auto parent company Take-Two. Kind of comments, but hopefully it'll be resolved. I don't think there was any further.
Yeah, I want to.
It's probably hard to take it too much further after they've won Game of the Year.
And It Takes Two is the EA, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that might have had something to.
They'll have a battle over names, just EA fighting Take-Two in an arena. EA starts launching games at them. Take-Two starts dodging with different versions of GTA 5. It's going to be a good fight, this one.
Yeah. Here's some shortcuts. There's shurikens.
Have a Megalodon, God.
It's 500.
EA falling under, throws a bunch of loot boxes back. Oh, God.
Good times, gamers. Good times.
Someone animate that fight, please. I'd like to see that fight. Proper anime style too. Like,
I think we just need to see whatever's happening on the inside of your brain. To be honest,
you don't want to see that. It's messed in here, man.
But yeah, the last kind of thing on there is the whole, and this I think is just a blast from the past. But there's going to be a series. Not even just a video game, a series of video games about Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Dog the Bounty Hunter. What? Oh, man. Damn. What a show. It'll love it. It'll be like, this guy's killed 18 people, 23 so-and-so's blown up 4 things. Get him in the car. They're like, we're going to pray for you. I love that. That was so good.
So this is Virtual Interactive Technologies, who the name doesn't ring a huge bell. I can't think of what else they've done. But yeah, pursuit of making video games based on his persona.
I wonder what they're going to do.
Just bounty hunt and just go out in a world that's 8 times the size of GTA 5 and hunt people down. Oh, God.
Just
what an IP to pick up, though.
Yeah,
that's the Bounty Hunter.
Is that even still going? I
don't even know. Like, is he still Is this still a show?
I've never actually watched it. I don't think. Oh. Will you be playing this when it comes out then?
Oh yeah, 100%.
They done anything else? I don't
know.
Yeah, apparently.
He's got Twitter.
Oh, he's got to be new. Got to be still going.
Oh, he signed deals for multiple games based on his persona. Look at he's a powerful looking person, and he looks like a wrestler. He does look like a wrestler. He should have been a wrestler. I'm sorry.
Oh, I got a list of the games. They've done. Oh, they're VR. Yeah, a lot of VR.
Walk around in VR, punching
people yeah.
Bounties on their heads. Sick. I'm in.
We should have got that from Virtual, to be honest.
I mean, to be fair, everything to do with computer games is virtual.
Virtual, yeah. They've done a fishing game in VR.
I hate fishing in games. I just hate
I like fishing. In games, that's another subject. Let's not talk about.
If you want to like just. I should have mentioned it before when we talk about useless side quests. Anything that involves fishing can fuck off.
I lied. It's only the one game in VR.
Okay, so you're lying about how many games they've made in VR now.
Yeah, it's just the one.
Lloyd's off the podcast. We're not speaking to him no more.
No.
You'll see him next week, though. Why not?
Yeah. They need me. Warbital. This looks like
I think that's the roundup for the news, right?
Yeah, that's everything we had. So that's everything that's been going on in the world of video games for now. So yeah, that's been quite an interesting week, and obviously we're looking forward.
UnCapt.
Next week I'm gonna have a coffee, definitely.
UnCapt. Boom, boom, UnCapt. Boom, boom, UnCapt. Boom.
I'm sorry, what you heard then, ladies and gentlemen, was a technical
What are you
glitch.
trying to do?
I was going into a dubstep remix.
I think Dale was just kind of
What
broke.
dubstep have you been listening to?
Don't listen to dubstep. I'm assuming, okay?
Wow.
That's definitely like a boomer moment from you. I'm just guessing what I think the dubstep of the kids listen to is like.
I mean, the only dubstep I've listened to is like Knife Party, but I can't go shouting Knife Party down the mic, can I?
Well,
copyright strike.
anyway, let's move swiftly on from all this nonsense. But yes, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. That's been us for this week. As ever, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, then, well, you should be, because we're great and we're here. But also, keep listening on whatever your favorite podcast service is. You can find us there as well, and all the usual social places. We are at UnCapt Gaming. So check us out, hit us up, say hello, and we will see you again next time.
We are everywhere.
Ta-ra. We are here. We are omnipotent. Is that the right word? I hope it is.
No, it's not. Omnipresent, and we're not even there.
Have a beautiful time.
Bye.
Have a beautiful time.